Good morning and welcome to First Unitarian Society of Madison. My name is Roger Birchhausen and I'm the interim minister. I'm joined this morning in worship by Reverend Kelly Crocker, Drew Collins, Linda Warren, and Daniel Carnes. We are glad to have you join FUS for worship this morning as we continue worshiping virtually during this COVID era. We feel ever more keenly the need for human connection and kinship. May we feel this bond of kinship in spite of our physical separation. We warmly invite you to join us for the coffee hour, which will immediately follow this service. You can find how to connect at the end of the service on the slide or else at fus.org, fusmadison.org. And now I invite you to join in a time of centering silence. Take a few deep breaths in and out and bring yourself fully into this virtual space and this moment.
All this talk of saving souls. Souls weren't meant to save like Sunday clothes that give out at the seams. They're made for wear. They come with lifetime guarantees. Don't save your soul. Pour it out like rain on cracked, parched earth. Give your soul away or pass it like a candle flame. Sing it out or laugh it up the wind. Souls were made for hearing breaking hearts, for puzzling dreams, remembering August flowers, forgetting hurts. These men who talk of saving souls, they have the look of bullies who blow out candles before you sing happy birthday and want the world to be in alphabetical order. I will spend my soul playing it out like sticky string into the world so I can catch every last thing I touch. In a moment, we will have our chalice lighting, and I invite you to join the Lindbergh family in lighting a candle or a chalice at your home.
We light this chalice to find inner peace, love for each other, and faith in ourselves. Also, to be welcoming to whomever we meet, and kind to all living creatures. So gather around this light of hope as we share this time together.
Let's sing together hymn number 34, one of our favorites, Though I May Speak with Bravest Fire. Though I may speak with bravest fire and have the gift to all inspire, and have not love, my words are vain as sounding brass and hopeless gain. Though I may give all I possess, and striving so my love profess, but not begin by love within, the prophet soon turns strangely thin. Come, Spirit, come, our hearts control. Our spirits long to be made whole. Let inward love guide every deed. By this we worship and are freed.
Kelly and I are going to share a simple meditation practice that little kids to older adults and everyone in between can do. This practice comes from the Buddhist monk Thich Nhat Hanh.
Roger and I are sitting comfortably. If we weren't doing this on camera, we might sit on a meditation cushion or in a comfy chair. We each have 4 stones. They can be any size. Pebbles work, or use marbles or beans if you don't have any stones handy.
We each pick up a stone and put it in the palm of our hand. We look at the stone with fresh eyes. This stone represents a flower. We each say, breathing in, I see myself as a flower. Breathing out, I feel fresh. Flower, fresh. Then we recite flower, fresh as we breathe in and out 3 times. Flower, fresh. Flower, fresh. Flower, fresh. As we do so, we try to imagine ourselves as a flower. We are each a beautiful flower in the garden of humanity. We each have so much beauty to offer. Then we put down the stone and we smile at it.
Now we pick up a second stone. This stone represents a mountain. We put it in the palm of our hand and say, breathing in, I see myself as a mountain. Breathing out, I feel solid. Mountain, solid. We recite that 3 more times. Mountain, solid. Mountain, solid. Mountain, solid. We are capable of being solid and stable. And then we put down this second stone.
We pick up a third stone. This stone represents calm water. Breathing in, I see myself as still water. Breathing out, I reflect things as they truly are. Water, reflecting. Still water is within me. I am calm, clear, and serene. 3 times. Water, reflecting. Water, reflecting. Water, reflecting. And we put down the stone.
And our fourth stone represents space. Breathing in, I see myself as space. Breathing out, I feel free. Space, free. Space is within me. When I cultivate spaciousness inside and outside, I can offer my acceptance and generosity to my beloveds. Like the moon traveling through the beautiful night sky, I have the capacity for space and freedom no matter where I am. Space, free. Space, free. Space, free. And then we put down the fourth stone.
Then we do a few final breaths in and out. In and out. In these few moments, we've reminded ourselves of who we are and the beautiful being we and everyone are. We have grounded ourselves. We'll put this simple meditation in next week's Red Floors. If you're feeling anxious or scared or just need grounding, we invite you to take a few moments to do the meditation of the 4 stones.
Week after week, faith communities come together and encourage all who gather there to grow more generous in spirit, in action, in love. We ask you to look into your hearts and see all that is available there, all the love, all the generosity, the faith, the gratitude, the hope. We take our offering from these gifts. Our outreach offering recipient today is the Sand County Foundation, whose focus is supporting voluntary conservation on working lands through ethics, science, and incentives. You will see on your screen how to donate through our website, fusmadison.org, or by text to give. We thank you for your generosity and your faith in this life we build together.
I'm tempted to start the sermon today by cataloging all the things that we could feel anxious about. But Kelly and I are trying to shorten the services a bit, and I recognize there's a lot of those things, and it'd probably take my whole allotted sermon time this morning, and then I'd just sit down and none of us would feel much better. And anyway, I'm guessing that we are all pretty much in touch with the things we're feeling anxious about. I have a friend who talks about getting awoken in the middle of the night, especially a lot lately, with the worries and the anxieties starting to go through his mind. He calls it his ruminator getting revved up. There is plenty of fodder these days for our ruminators. I was glad lately to hear about Sarah Jaquette Ray's book, A Field Guide to Climate Anxiety: How to Keep Your Cool on a Warming Planet. I heard about this from newer FUS member Liz Hackton. For some of us, climate change is almost always at the forefront of our ruminator. For others, it's more in the background with occasional forays to the front burner. Sarah Jaquette Ray wrote this book for Generation Z. That's for people born roughly in the mid to late 1990s into the early 2010s. I find that the book is applicable not just to climate anxiety, but to the many anxieties about the situation in the world today. And I find that it's applicable to all ages. There's a lot of really concrete, good wisdom in this book. It's easy, especially these days, to feel overwhelmed by climate change and by all the other problems. Despair and resignation are big enemies of movement toward climate justice or racial justice or any other kind of justice. Visions of certain doom, even if arguably justified by the evidence, are not good motivators for action. And guilt also is not a good motivator. So how can we keep ourselves motivated in working for the common good for the long haul? How do we not just give up in despair? How do we keep working for justice when the results are discouraging or worse? Well, there's a lot of suggestions, like I said, in this book, and I'm going to lift up 5 ideas that especially resonate with me. The first is to be attentive to our emotions. Ray asserts that climate work needs to be shaped more by our emotional selves than our rational selves. She says that when we don't recognize or deal with our emotions around the climate crisis, they sabotage our works for justice. Ignoring our emotions hinders our reasoning and our decision making. So, for example, feeling emotions of grief or lamentation about what has already been lost in climate change, feeling grief or lamentation about the possibility of 1 million species eventually going extinct because of climate change. Paying attention to that, being in that grief and in that lamentation is an important step before we're going to be able to act concretely for climate justice. So we need to bring emotional intelligence to the work for justice. It's not a choice between emotions or reason. It's focus on emotions first and foremost so that we can then engage our reason. Ray says that we need to look our feelings straight in the eye rather than run away from them. She has this beautiful image of sitting on a park bench with her despair sitting next to her. We need to be acquainted with these emotions we're feeling, not stuff them away. Second, she says that we need to understand that the struggle for climate justice or other forms of justice is a very long struggle. We too often seem to need to see tangible progress to feel like the work is going to be worthwhile. Hope seems to be only possible when that progress is visible. Defeats, failures, then lead to hopelessness. Ray asserts, and this is a pretty radical assertion, I think, she asserts that hope is a distraction, that hope is beside the point. She says, work toward the world that you yearn for, not the world that you feel maybe is reasonably possible. She laments climate justice books that are full of doom and gloom, and then in her words, they put a teaspoon of sugar, hope, in at the very end. The teaspoon of sugary hope doesn't really do very much. This makes me think, and I've been thinking a lot lately, about Theodore Parker's assertion that the moral arc of the universe is long, but it bends toward justice. Martin Luther King picked up that same quote from Parker and used it a lot. To me, that quote is a faith statement. It is not a statement of fact. If there is an arc toward justice, it is really, really, really long. That arc spans not just a generation, not just a few generations, but hundreds and even thousands of years. I believe that Martin Luther King Jr.'s daybreak of freedom and justice will one day come, but I'm not certain that it will, and I certainly don't imagine that I'm going to get to see that promised land. Progress, when it happens in fits and starts. Think about the African American journey in the United States. After centuries of slavery, then within decades, a decade or two of the Civil War, the promise of racial justice faded into Jim Crow segregation and lynchings. Racist groups like the KKK had more stamina than white allies for racial justice who had the privilege to get tired and quit the fight. Then 100 years later, black activists led the successful fight to have laws put in place against segregation, against voter suppression. And then fast forward a few decades, and we now have these subtler forms of segregation and the premature declaration that the Voting Rights Act did its job and now can be abolished. Sadly but wisely, Parker did not put a time frame on his arc of the moral universe statement. Don't enlist in the quest for justice if you think you're going to win in a few years or your lifetime or even the lifetime of your grandchildren. Cultivate the stamina that you need for the long haul. Bringing about change, Ray writes, is a daily leap of faith. Bringing about change is a daily leap of faith. Pulling that arc of justice down just a little bit, which is the human task, is a daily leap of faith. Revolutions are built on daily leaps of faith. So we need to practice detachment from ends, or we will end up disappointed and eventually despondent. And when that happens, we become passive. We step off that slow train inching toward justice. A third tip from Ray's book is to let go of the need for grandiose solutions. It is not just the famous and the powerful who make change happen. It's not those handful of front-page actions that ultimately transform the world. It's all of the little actions taken by ordinary people like you and me. Sometimes these small actions light a fire that roars, like a Swedish high school girl launches a one-person school strike to go picket at the Swedish parliament. But mostly, these small acts stay small. They stay unknown. But still, over time, they can add up and make a difference. Humility is a wonderful tool for staying in for the long haul. So this means it's not all riding on you. It's not all riding on me. Each of us has a unique gift, unique talents, unique passions to bring to this. The trick is to find the cause that stirs your heart and your soul and to plug in with your talents. Ray encourages us to be intentional about what we give our energy to. She recommends that each person write a personal mission statement. The mission statement that each of us have then can keep us focused. It can help us say yes to those things that we're passionate about and have skill in, and to say no to other things that will just stretch us and divert us. I've thought for a while that my own life mission is about building bridges. That's the mission that guided my 25-year ministry in Appleton. It's the mission that called me to the work with the Unitarian Universalist Partner Church Council. And it's the personal mission that called me now to FUS. Focusing my attention on the work of building bridges is the best role I can play in the revolution. Fourth, if the fate of the world is not solely riding on me or solely riding on you, then it's going to be best to join others in this work. And joining others also gives us permission to step back periodically to rest so that we can really stay in this work for the long haul. And finally, Ray urges us to take care of ourselves. The quest for justice needs us for the long haul. Burning out doesn't do any good. She has a pretty good list of self-care practices. Practice mindfulness and gratitude. Avoid self-sabotaging habits. Limit your use of social media. Get enough sleep. Focus on the tasks you find fulfilling and in line with your priorities. Say no to requests that are not aligned with your priorities. Foster a support network. Cultivate compassion. Care for others. Visualize good outcomes. Create better stories. Celebrate successes. And seek beauty and pleasure. And wow, that last one, in these anxious times, how desperately we need to seek beauty and pleasure. It's often there in our lives, but we miss it when we're overwhelmed with anxiety. Take the time to see it, to experience it, and to be grateful for it. And I'll add one other thing, self-care practice to this list, which is spiritual practice. Doesn't matter which one. Find a spiritual practice that speaks to you and then experiment with it. It could be something as simple as that 4 stones meditation that Kelly and I did earlier. Just that simple 3-minute exercise can keep you grounded in this uber anxious time. The world does not need any of us to be a big splashy hero. The world needs us to find our niche, to do our part, to work with others, and to take care of ourselves so we can do this work for the long haul, so we can keep showing up in 5 years or 10 years or 20 years. So, will it work if we all do this? I don't know that it will, but I don't know that it won't either. The only thing I know for sure is that if we all give up, the transformation that our planet so desperately needs is not going to happen. Let's find ways to stay in this for the long haul. May it be so. Each week we come together in our services and spend a little bit of time being mindful of the cares of the congregation, the joys, the sorrows among us. This morning, we join together in celebrating with great joy the new life in Nancy Vetter Schultz and Mark Schultz's life. They report that their daughter Linnea gave birth to her second son, Valentin Lucien Vetter, on September 13th. Mark and Nancy were able to spend 2 weeks after Val's birth helping Linnea, Zach, and big brother Leo. We sure celebrate this great joy. Also this morning we note with sorrow and gratitude that the life of Sylvia O'Neill ended on Sunday, October 11th. We are grateful for the gifts of her life, and we send our great love to Sylvia's daughter, Jan O'Neill, and to their family. We also will light a candle of sorrow for Bob Buzecki and Eva Wright on the death of Bob's cousin, Tom Linzer, who passed away recently at the age of 99. And we'll light a candle of sorrow for a dear friend and longtime neighbor of me in Appleton, Kendall Shreve, who died of COVID-19 last Sunday. Let us hold these joys and these sorrows in our heart. I'll light 4 candles for these joys and sorrows, and then a 5th candle representing the unspoken joys and concerns and sorrows in our hearts today.
congregation. And we invite you to add your voice to what I just sang. Go back into this portion of the service and sing along with me at home. Put in earbuds or put on headphones. Take out your iPhone or whatever device you have and make a video of yourself singing along with me. If you go to fusmadison.org/music, you'll see a link for the sheet music for this song and for this portion of the service. Sing along with it, make a video, send the video to my email address here at the church, drewc@fusmadison.org, and I'll add your voice to the virtual choir that will sing this song in future services. Thank you very much. Please join me in singing hymn number 1029, Love Knocks and Waits for Us to Hear. Love knocks and waits for us to hear, to open and invite. Love longs to quiet every fear and seeks to set things right. Love offers life in spite of foes who threaten and condemn, embracing enemies. Love goes the second mile with them. Love comes to heal the broken heart, to ease the troubled mind. Without a word, love bids us start to ask and seek and find. Love knocks and enters at the sound of welcome from within. Love sings and dances all around and feels new life begin.
In these anxious times, may each of us find places of solace and renewal. May each of us find those places of beauty and pleasure in our everyday lives. May each of us do what we need to do to keep showing up. May you go in peace.